What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ASAP Automotive channel, and today we got a little something interesting in here. I actually got a good buddy of mine's 73 Super Beetle in here, and we're going to be showing you guys how to do a bunch of steering and suspension work on it today. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so like I said, today we're working on a 73 Super Beetle, and my buddy Patrick's here. You guys might not actually know, but before the channel was the actual channel, we actually shot an episode here with his 96?
Yeah, 96.
Yeah, Jeep Cherokee that he dubbed Betty White. This thing had like... Okay, so as you've seen with some of the, already in the video that we've gone over some of the stuff, checked a few of the most common things that you really want to look at when you first get a vehicle. Some of the big stuff that can really rack up. So we've worked together, and what we've done is compile a list of stuff that we want to tackle this weekend that we can do and get the parts and go ahead and get done and get it on the road for them. So, and what we've done here is we know that we need a trans mount, as you've seen, from how swollen up it is from the trans leak. We're going to work on getting that fixed because the root cause is that the transmission's leaking. But for right now, just to get it to where we can move it around without the transmission jumping around, we're going to go ahead and change out the mount this weekend. Shocks, as you've seen from some of the previous clips of how the difference between a new shock and a worn out shock and how much of a major difference that can make, not only in just driving down the road, but when you're braking, that keeps the vehicle so much more stable and can decrease your stopping distance. Exhaust manifold, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the video, how common that is on these things. So this is an older design. You can actually see where this has actually had a previous fix on it, where it's been welded once already. But we're going to put a new updated design manifold on there to hopefully eliminate this, and this will be a one and done fix. We found two, like I showed earlier, we've got two coolant leaks on here. One at the heater control valve, and then one coming somewhere off the water pump. We're going to work on identifying that second one, verifying it. We know we got an issue at the fuel filter where one of the clamps wasn't even clamping anything down, and at 30 or 40 psi fuel pressure, that's not too safe. The rearview mirror, real quick, easy fix. We're just going to get, scrape off the old glue, put some new glue on there, put it up. Real quick, easy fix. Removing some of the ghetto wiring. This thing had some very interesting wiring done to it up underneath. Matter of fact, the way the radio is wired. So we're going to work back through, remove some of that stuff, kind of declutter it. Loose wires like that can make contact, can short stuff out, and drive you insane chasing electrical issues just from some stuff that doesn't even really need to be there. And then one of the last things we're going to deal with is checking out the lights, making sure everything's good there. We know we have a passenger side headlight out, but we're going to run through, check other bulbs. Most bulbs are pretty easy on an older vehicle like this. You don't have to worry about any HID stuff or anything crazy expensive. So we're pretty good there. But yeah, this is what we're going to try to tackle on this Weekend Warrior project. Betty White, this thing had like, what, 400,000 miles on it or something like that?
380.
Yeah, so yeah, almost 400,000. Body was solid, great Jeep. We did a ton of different stuff on it. We were going to call it like the Weekend Warrior project. We had issues with getting all the footage together and stuff, never really worked out. Long story short, I ended up selling that and buying this Beetle. So if I can find the footage, guys, I'm going to try to. We're going to try to throw some of that stuff at the end, a little bit of bonus stuff for you guys. But Patrick called me the other day. He said, hey, man, he said, I bought this Beetle. I got a death wobble in it. I got a bunch of front end suspension stuff, steering stuff that we need to do to it. So I was like, hell yeah, man, bring it on up. Literally drove all the way up from Atlanta area up here to get it done. So something fun, interesting to do on a Saturday, I'm all about it. So this might be a little bit different for you guys than our typical. It's really not like a how-to. We're just going to kind of go real general over stuff, show you some of the stuff we're doing. I'm not going to go super in depth with it. We're going to try to give you guys as much as we can. If you got any questions, always feel free to drop comments, good or bad, all that stuff in the bottom. So, but let's get at it. All right, guys. So like I said, we're doing a bunch of front end work on this thing with some of the suspension, some steering, possibly some brake stuff in here too. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're actually going to remove out the whole steering linkage assembly as one piece if we can. So what we've done is we've actually gone through here, and there's a plug in here once you remove the spare tire. You can access the bolt here and take the end of the steering dampener loose. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come here on both ends, or on both of these on both sides, and take our cotter pins out and our castle nuts, and then pop these loose. We'll show you the tool we're going to be using to do that, and then try to move this whole linkage out to the side and install the new linkage. We've got new rods here, new center link, all that. We're going to try to go back in together. We're going to show you how to do that in a second. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get on working on popping these off. Okay guys, what you want to do is once you've got your ends of your cotter pin straight down as much as you can, one of the things you can do is take a good pair of dikes like this. This was a little bit of an awkward position to get into, but normally you can grab right here and then walk it on out. I don't know if we're going to be able to in this particular one. There we go. Okay. But you can bite down, pull, bite down, and pull, and end up pulling your cotter pin out just like that. And then we'll come back and go ahead and take these nuts off. Okay guys, one of the other issues we noticed here, we're going to have to try to figure out if we got to get the bushing separate, or if we can't get it separate, or if we have to get the whole. This is actually your pitman arm here coming off of your steering gearbox, and this is your stabilizer bar here coming over that we took loose earlier through the trunk. You notice the bushing on this thing has seen absolute better days, so dampener's pointless if you this bushing shot. So we've got to look into that and figure that out. We're not sure yet, but we're going to find out from there. But next thing we're going to do is go ahead and take this loose, and then we'll show you how to go ahead and pop these tie rod ends loose and hopefully take this all out in one shebang. Okay guys, so if you're doing any kind of front end work on near about any vehicle with a McPherson strut set up like this, or whether it's rack and pinion setup or steering gear, whatever, you're dealing with tie rod ends, pitman arms, all that kind of stuff. A really cool kit to have is this one here. Now there are different brands out there. You can actually rent toolkits like this from the parts store. This is an OTC $62.95. It's got a bunch of different cool little tools for working on front end stuff, for popping stuff loose and all that. Because these are a bevel fit into a bore, and they're pressed in there, and they're not going to want to come out easy, and we don't want to damage the threads. So I'm not sponsored by OTC or anything like that, but OTC, if you're watching, I would love to if you guys want to send me some free tools. But this is honestly, it's a really good kit. I only think I spent like $100-something bucks maybe on Amazon for it. But like I said, if you don't want to spend the money, you're not going to be really doing any other front end stuff. You can easily go to the parts store, any O'Reilly's or anything like that, and rent these toolkits if you want. But it is a really cool kit to have in your toolbox. So that being said, we're going to show you how to use this tool to pop these ends loose. Okay guys, so the particular tool we used in this kit for this one ended up being a 513-243. It's really trial and error. You might end up using different ones. We're probably going to end up using different tools throughout here for this, because some of these are kind of narrow on the side, some of them won't catch. Just make sure your tool is good and set properly so it's not popping off on you when you're going to try to tighten it down. You don't have to use an impact, but it makes things a lot easier. But you can use a regular wrench and tighten it down. And as you see in the video, or in the shot there, that thing can be under a lot of pressure when it pops loose, so make sure you're wearing safety glasses. Don't be an idiot. Got everything popped loose, and as you notice in this video, some of those things can be pretty tight and they get pretty violent when they pop loose, so be careful. We went ahead and got our steering stabilizer out. We had both ends off, so it just come out on its own real easy a little bit ago. But now we're going to go ahead and take this whole steering linkage as one shooting match and just take it out the driver's side. You're going to catch on a few things, but just kind of, you might have to rotate it, clock it back and forth a little bit as you go out. Just take your time, take it nice and easy, but it should come all out at one unit. So, rotate. There you go. All right, go ahead. Clear.
Opa!
Opa! Okay, guys, so we got all our new steering linkage laid out, and we've got the whole old linkage assembly sitting out here for a good comparison. So, that being said, evidently this bar can go either way. It's symmetrical, so we don't have to worry about that. What you want to pay attention to is that you get these on the right way. Notice these adjusting nuts go on the inside here. Clamps are out here on the end. So, and like I said, we're replacing all this at once, which, in my opinion, if you're doing this, would be the only way to go. So we're going to go ahead and take these caps off, get everything set down. We're actually going to put all this together and then go back in together with it all as one. So. I need to correct myself. So this can go, I guess, either way technically, but in a way it needs to go one way because these ends have a bevel to them here, these shafts. So there's one way that this is actually beveled, they're tapered out, and they need to fit in the right way. So you got to make sure you get it the right way. So if you've got it flipped around the wrong way, it's going to allow it to move. It can actually shear off. So that being said, it's smaller on this side and bigger on this side, and that's how this taper is going to fit down in there like that, and then we'll tighten it down. So just wanted to correct myself there real quick. Okay guys, so we're going to come in, we're going to go ahead and tighten these down. In the meantime, what we're doing is we got everything laid out side by side, so this will give us a good comparison. We know the alignment was decent in it. We just got an issue with death wobble, which is really in our lower bushings. So that being said, we should be okay to rough it in with the alignment, with adjusting these out to the same length, and it's easy when you got it all laid out like this. So what we're going to do is we've got the adjustment nuts loose here, and then our clamps are loose here, and what we're going to do is hold the tie rod in steady and actually just rotate this inner sleeve to where it actually threads it out and extends out the tie rods to where we're close to the same length. And this will get us close enough until we can get it to the alignment shop and have them align it up for us. So, all right guys, so we got everything. What we did is we adjusted out to where we're lined up here as close as we can. We're lined up here, and what we do is in this particular setup, this company we got them from, yours might look a little different with just a single jam nut, but these are actually, it's a pretty neat setup here. So the end is sleeved like that, and it's a tapered bore, and this nut's tapered accordingly and goes over here. So whenever you tighten down this jam nut, it tightens down this and compresses it down and locks it down. It's pretty neat. This style over here is just an old style, just clamp setup. We're leaving these loose right now until we get it up in there, because later on we're gonna, check our toe in and out to make sure we're at least close so we can get it to the alignment shop. But that being said, we're going to tighten these down. We got it close enough now. We're going to go ahead and work on getting this back up in the car. So we're getting the struts out now. These are actually a pretty cool little setup. It's like a cassette almost. The strut sits down in the housing. So we've got our spring compressors on here now to go ahead and compress the spring down, take the tension off. Because when we take this nut off, that way this doesn't come shooting out at us. This is your strut mount up here. This one's actually in really good shape. The other one was too. So we're going to go ahead and take this nut off, take the strut mount off, and then our cap, and then slide our spring and all that, and we'll work on changing out the strut. So what we've got here is actually a little cap, gland nut, whatever you want to call it, that actually goes on here and holds the strut down in this tube assembly. So what we're going to do is, if you got a spanner wrench, with two little tits on it or something to catch it, that's cool. We're just going to use a pipe wrench to get on here and bust it loose and then spin it off. It's not really that tight. You might get a little bit of corrosion from over the years, but shouldn't be too bad. You can see where this boot has been rubbing like crazy since it's fell off. Alright guys, and once you get that little gland nut or whatever on there, I'll just tap it back and tighten it down just a little bit. Doesn't have to be crazy, just so it doesn't back off, and then we can put the rest of the strut back together. One thing you want to make sure of, guys, whenever you go to back with the spring is, like, you'll see the detent in there in the rubber. Like it clocks a certain way. You want to make sure you get it back down in there the right way, so it sits right and you don't have issues. Let me pull it back so you guys can see. You can see the indentation right there. We're gonna, right there at the end of the coil, right in there. And then we're gonna do the same for the top side also. lot of people freak out. Oh God, he's running it down with the impact. Couple quick blips. You know, yes, you can put an Allen wrench in there and get a special socket and tighten that down. Pain in the butt. I've been doing this long enough. I know how to do. So run it down just snug real quick, and then what we're gonna do is take the tension off of these, come back and run and tighten it down a little bit more, and then we can put the strut back up in. So that's going to be a wrap on a long, interesting weekend doing the front end of the suspension of the Super Beetle. It's pretty cool, fun project. I've honestly never really messed with much with the Super Beetle stuff, done some of the regulars. So any VW guys out there saw anything I've done wrong, whatever, leave in the comments. It's too late now, it's done. But anyway, drives great. He's super happy, made a huge difference. So yeah, it was awesome, a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll enjoy it. He's going to end up putting rear shocks in it and go get this thing aligned. We went ahead and we didn't get a video for you guys. Like I said, this is kind of an overview. We went into some detail, but the tie rods, we went ahead and adjusted those, measured with a measuring tape, set our toe to where we're pretty even, and then tightened those down just so he's got enough to where he can get it to an alignment shop. He running up to 60 mile an hour, it does great. So they'll get it all dialed in. So that's gonna be a wrap, guys. Like I said before, you never really know what we're gonna have in the shop. Kind of like what my dad says on his. Where he's famous for it is MacGyver's Workshop. Don't forget to check out their channel. We'll leave a link below to that too. You can see all kind of cool, interesting stuff like this, and everything from house projects to boats, you name it. So, but until then, you pretty satisfied with it?
Oh hell yeah!
Right.
I appreciate you so much.
Really nice, man. And that's gonna be a wrap for us, guys. And remember, until next time, stock is not an option.